we're going to be installing Poison Spyder extra clearance highline fenders right here. I went with the steel 3-inch flare, intervented fenders. First step is to get a T40 Torx bit, take the latch off the hood. Alright, now flip the latches open so you don't scratch your hood when you take them off. Now we're going to take the hood off. Okay, so the hood is off. I forgot to mention earlier, but before you take the hood off, you want to make sure that you disconnect your ground, windshield washer hose, and then the hose is also going to be clamped on too. Alright, so right now I'm working on taking off everything off the inner fender here. I'm going to take the intake off right there. Alright, so I disconnected the hose. And there's 3 nuts. There, and there. And it should just pull right off. Alright, so this just pulled right off. Now I'm going to take the fuse box off. Okay, now I'm going to remove the battery. Okay, now I removed the battery and I pushed the fuse box out of the way for now. Next up is to remove the battery tray. Okay, now we have all the bolts off on this side. Battery tray is all disconnected. We took the bolt off for the rock slider. The only thing that's holding it on now is the front. So we're going to unplug the blinker and then take off the bolts. So we did not want to take the rock slider off, and that's what gave us trouble. What we ended up doing on both the other side fenders too, took off the supports, and then we had enough leverage to pull it back and squeeze the fender out. Okay, so we are test fitting this side right now. We just got 1 bolt on right there. We got 3 bolts right there, somewhat snug. Center punched that and drilled a little bit. Finish that tomorrow. On this side, we are finishing up removing everything off the inner fender. We've taken off those 3 bolts, those 3 bolts, and now we just have to take off the 4 that are located inside of here. Okay, so after we got done test fitting, we drilled our holes for the rock slider to go into and the front blinker. We went the Poison Spyder one. Now we're prepping them for primer. We're scotch spreading them up, mineral spirits to clean them, then we're going to shoot primer. So we sprayed the epoxy primer on. I did about 4 coats on each. Next up I'm gonna bed line them with Monster liner, but I can't do that till a few weekends from now. Alright, so I have both fenders on and inner fenders. Here's the other side. I also powder coated my sway bar links in a silver vein. They were really corroded before. All I have left to do before I put my hood on and start cutting that is there's a sheet metal screw that goes right in there that takes it to the tub. Another good idea is to paint the back side of the grill a black color and put some clear coat over it. Makes it blend in a lot better than a primer green that they had on there before. There's a little bit of it right there that you can see. Okay. I have to tighten this sway bar up still. And then put the sheet metal screw on this side. I also powder coated the bolts. Like right there, for example. These were not black, so they didn't really blend in very well. I drilled holes and I got the clear lens for the Poison Spyder blinkers. I have to wire those in next time I come home. Then I gotta start making everything fit. But another thing we powder coated is the battery tray accessories. That one's already in there, I just have to tighten the two nuts up top. I got my hood louver off. The hood is now ready to be cut. I'm gonna put on here. I got thin cutting blades for the angle grinder and a flap disc to trim it up. I'm also going to be taking this in to get painted after I get everything all test fitted. Now I'm ready to cut the hood. I'm going to put some painter's tape on that lip right there. I read that it's a good idea to cut at this lip and then you trim it with a flap disc to fit perfectly. I'm going to cut just below that lip. I know that it's going to be above the lip, but you know, it's easier to just trim it to fit. I bought 2 thin metal cutting blades and a new flap disc. I'm going to use an angle grinder. Here's what we came up with after trimming all night. Sits pretty flush. There's going to be an automotive trim that wraps around the edge of that too after I get it painted, so you won't see that many imperfections, but I think it turned out pretty good. I got right amount of hood gap that I want. Next up is hood pins. Now we're installing the hood pins. We threaded the pins into those holes right there. That one is perfect. This one has a wider hole in it, but we measured it out to be exactly the same. Now we're going to trace around that, center punch it, and drill. I am now done with the fender project. Hood is cut. I have a rubber liner to put along the edge of it. I just have not done that yet. I had the hood repainted and the fender inserts. Mounted the vacuum box reservoir there. Fuse box is mounted with these two. Just drilled into the bottom of it. And then over here, made a little bracket for the windshield washer reservoir. And that is about it. I just have to put the rubber liner on it later on. I don't feel like doing that right now. Hood pins are on. I think everything turned out nice. Here's how I mounted the washer reservoir. I just made some L brackets, bent it, bolted it in that way. Sturdy, it's not going anywhere. To mount this, I just bent that stock bracket that it came off of. Over on this side, I mounted my fuse box right here. It's sturdy, it's not going anywhere. I drilled in 2 bottom holes. And then air box, I have it zip tied for now. I just mainly need to get it driving for tonight. I'm going back to college, so I've driven it already yesterday. Everything's solid, nothing's going anywhere. This still fits on here. Doesn't hit or anything. Could always bend it down a little bit more. And probably gonna put on that rubber trim right now or tomorrow. And that's it. Turned out really nice. These are 33 by 12.5 on the 15-inch rim. I'm gonna get 35s whenever I do an axle swap, but I'm gonna save that until these tires wear down, and then I'll do it all at once and get 35s. Here's what I came up with for the rubber liner.